I chased after Pei Zhao for 7 years, and finally warmed his heart. He proposed marriage to me, and we vowed to grow old together. But just before our wedding, a line of subtitles suddenly appeared before my eyes. I feel so sorry for the female supporting character. She's still foolishly embroidering her wedding dress, but the male second has decided to elope for the female lead. There's no way around it. The male second will always belong to the female lead. I didn't believe it and ran to find Pei Zhao, but I saw him in the study, carefully coaxing the female lead, Lu Han Shuang, in his arms. Don't cry, I know you hate her. When I elope, I'll make her a laughingstock to the whole capital, just to vent your anger, okay? Hearing this, the female lead smiled through her tears. Okay, I knew Brother Pei was the best to me. My heart turned to ice, and I turned around to call the system. I told it that I was giving up on saving the male second from his tragic end of being torn to pieces for the female lead, and his family's destruction. System, I want to go home. The system's voice quickly sounded in my ear, with a hint of regret. Host, are you really sure? As long as you get married, you can change the male second's fate of dying tragically because of the female lead, and the redemption will be successful. I looked at the veil in my hand, with only one flower left to embroider to finish it, and gave a bitter smile. It won't succeed. I've tried it, but I still failed. Pei Zhao will elope on the wedding day. This wedding will not be completed at all. Actually, I should have known this a long time ago. Ever since Lu Han Shuang came to Pei Zhao's place half a month ago, he changed. He forgot to accompany me to buy the jewelry for the wedding day, forgot to prepare my birthday gift. But he wouldn't forget the pastry that Lu Han Shuang liked to eat. He went to line up in the east of the city before dawn. He wouldn't forget that Lu Han Shuang said she couldn't sleep well. He specially asked the Yamen for leave to go to Zhengyuan Temple to ask for a talisman for her. I tried so hard to change his fate of dying tragically because of the female lead, to let him live well, but I still failed. He wants to elope and make me a laughingstock to the whole world. But he clearly knows that I have no one to rely on but him. If there is no groom in a good wedding, how much criticism will I, an orphan who was already ridiculed and considered to have climbed too high, receive? A dense pain rose in my heart. I couldn't help but cover my chest. I couldn't help but think, perhaps, everything was just my wishful thinking. Pei Zhao may not need my redemption at all. I walked back to my yard in despair. The barrage in front of me hadn't stopped. I suddenly feel a little sorry for the female supporting character. She has done so much for the male second, but he treats her like that. Damn man, the female supporting character shouldn't have saved him back then. That's right, he's simply an ungrateful wretch. If he doesn't love her, can't he just say it frankly, just to make the female lead happy? He wants to elope and make her a laughingstock. The female supporting character has been so unworthy all these years. I couldn't help but feel a redness in the corner of my eye. Yes, isn't it unworthy? These years have really been too unworthy. I transmigrated to this world 7 years ago to redeem Pei Zhao. Pei Zhao was originally the most talented young man in the Dingbei Ho mansion, but an accident turned him into a disabled person lying in bed. His family, even his mother, gave up on him. They sent him to a village in the suburbs to fend for himself, welcomed the illegitimate son into the house. Only I, from the first time I saw him, have been steadfastly guarding him. My identity in this world is a poor and helpless peasant girl. The first time I saw him was when his illegitimate brother sent someone to throw him off a cliff. It was I who found him at the bottom of the steep cliff. For Pei Zhao, at first, it may have just been because of the task, but after getting along with him, discovering his softness, unwillingness, and being unappreciated, I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. In order to cure him, I disregarded the difficulties and took him around to find famous doctors, having carried him step by step, prostrating with each step up the 1001 steps. I only sought the elder of Yunshan Temple to heal him. Even if I broke my leg, I wouldn't hesitate. Finally, he was cured. He also defeated his illegitimate half-brother and returned home. He even promised to marry me. I will always remember him holding my hands, calloused from gathering herbs for him, and promising me, Ching, I will never let you down. I foolishly believed it. I thought I was really going to succeed in saving him. He would marry me, and he would avoid being killed by the female lead and having his family destroyed. I picked up the embroidery needle, something I wasn't good at, wanting to make myself a wedding dress by hand, like the women here. I wanted to embroider my wish to grow old together with my beloved, never to be apart. I counted the days until the wedding. Stitch by stitch, I embroidered our future. At first, the mandarin ducks I embroidered looked like ducks, and everyone laughed at me for a long time. I practiced for a long time, me, who was afraid of pain, my fingers broke again and again. Finally, I could embroider beautiful mandarin ducks, but now, the wedding dress is almost finished, the wedding date is approaching, but he, because of the female lead, is going back on his word. I wiped away the tears that had overflowed from the corners of my eyes without me noticing. I found a brazier, I threw the almost finished veil and the wedding dress into it, the flames climbed up the fabric, soon it was burning, the system's voice carried a hint of heartache. Host, are you really not going to reconsider? I shook my head bitterly. When will you send me away? In 7 days, the transfer channel will officially open. How coincidental, in 7 days. It's exactly the day Pei Zhao and I are supposed to get married. A sense of dark humor suddenly surged in my heart. I want to know, when Pei Zhao finds out that this wedding has no groom, nor a bride, what will it feel like? The next day, I packed up all the little things Pei Zhao had given me over the years. There was the wooden hairpin he made for me when we were in the village. There were the portraits he secretly drew of me after his health improved a bit in Willow Village. There were also the little bamboo toys I made for him to relieve his boredom, and the Buddhist scriptures I copied for him, and, when we were at our poorest, I was afraid his injured leg would be uncomfortable. I went to the town to find an embroiderer. I begged her to teach me how to make ugly and rough knee pads for him. I couldn't bear to throw any of these away. He saw them, and his eyes were also red as he said that every bit of it was proof of our love through thick and thin. But now, the love is gone. There's no point in keeping these things. I put all the things in a wooden box, then I handed it to Dongxia, the maid who had been serving me ever since I came to the Marquis of Dingbei's mansion. After I leave, throw all these things away. The things in this little box are a gift for you. Thank you for taking care of me during this time. These were the little things Pei Zhao casually gave me after returning to the Marquis of Dingbei's mansion. They were all gold, silver, and jade items, and her indenture. I can't take them away, so I'll leave them to this little girl who has taken care of me so much. Dongxia was stunned holding the box. Where is Miss going? Aren't you marrying the young Marquis? Everyone knew how much I loved Pei Zhao, how much I cared about Pei Zhao, but now, I have really let him go. I opened my mouth, just wanting to speak, when suddenly someone asked from behind, "Where are you going?" I turned around and saw Pei Zhao walking in from outside. Now he was wearing luxurious brocade clothes, which made him look like a handsome and noble gentleman. Where was the slightest trace of the destitute appearance he had in the village back then, when he could only rely on me? I suppressed the bitter smile at the corner of my lips and said lightly, "Nowhere. You know, in the capital." "I don't know anyone but you." Pei Zhao nodded reassuringly when he heard my words. Then he didn't ask any more questions. He had long lost his initial patience with me. His eyes swept over my room, and he said in a deep voice, "Qingqing, your courtyard is spacious and has a firewall. You know, Han Shuang is not in good health and can't catch a cold. The Qingfeng courtyard where she lives is too remote and cold. Can you switch courtyards with her?" I was stunned. My heart couldn't help but ache again like crazy. He only remembered that Lu Han Shuang couldn't catch a cold, but he forgot that I also had a cold condition. Back then, his injuries relapsed, and he almost died. I ignored the heavy snow and city closure and ran outside to find a doctor for him. Later, I brought the doctor to him, but I almost died because of the cold poison entering my body. After that, I developed a chronic illness. When he woke up, he looked at my body covered in frostbite. He cried and said that when he got better, he would never let me catch a cold for the rest of his life. Later, he really did. After returning to the Marquis's residence, he built this courtyard for me. He specially used the firewall that only northerners used. It was warm like spring all year round. But now, he's forgotten. He wanted me to move to the cold and desolate Qingfeng courtyard and give this place to his beloved. Watching Pei Zhao's increasingly impatient tone, I awkwardly prepared my words and stammered, Can I move in a few days? Not long, just 6 days. I was about to leave forever, but before I could finish speaking, Lu Han Shuang walked in from behind Pei Zhao, crying and sobbing. "It's okay if Qingqing Jie doesn't want to. This courtyard is much warmer with a firewall. Qingqingjia must be used to living here. My body is nothing serious, just a few coughs. Pei Zhao Gij. Please don't make Qingqingjia unhappy because of me. As soon as she finished speaking, Pei Zhao looked at me with extreme disgust. You've only been in the capital for a year. How can you be so extravagant? You used to be just a farmer girl who didn't even have cotton clothes in winter. How can you not be used to a courtyard without a firewall now? Han Shuang's family had an accident and came to seek refuge. We should give her the best courtyard. This is the way to treat guests. How can you be so narrow-minded and become the mistress of the Marquis's residence in the future? My heart felt like it had been punched. It hurt so much that I couldn't help but bend over. It turned out that Pei Zhao had never looked up to me, even though I had been through thick and thin with him for 7 years. Dong Xia couldn't stand it and wanted to defend me. No, it's not. Miss can't catch a cold either. Her cold is also acting up. Okay, I'll move. I interrupted. Dong Xia said. Miss, but you. Dong Xia was so angry that her eyes turned red. I smiled faintly. It's okay. Miss Han Shuang needs this courtyard more than I do. Pei Zhao glanced at me coldly. It's good that you can still understand human language. Lu Han Shuang looked at me from behind him, her smile mocking and contemptuous. Then thank you, Qingqingjia, for being so generous and giving me this courtyard. I clenched my palms tightly. Yes, not only this courtyard is given to you. I don't want Pei Zhao either. There weren't many things in the courtyard that belonged to me, but Dong Xia was careful, and it was already late when she had packed everything up. Looking at the increasingly gloomy sky after nightfall, Dong Xia asked me hesitantly, Miss, Qingfeng Courtyard is said to be allocated to Miss Lu, but she has always lived in the courtyard next to the young Marquis and has never lived there. I went to see it today, and it's so deserted. We definitely won't have time to clean it up now. You also have a cold and can't catch a cold. Why don't you tell the young Marquis and allow us to extend it for another day? I'll clean it up tomorrow morning and then move over. Snowflakes had already begun to fall in the air. Going over there now would indeed be asking for trouble. But even if I went to Pei Zhao, would he still be willing to give me another day? A burst of footsteps suddenly came from outside the courtyard. I looked over and a wry smile escaped my lips. It seemed to be icy outside, and Lu Han Shuang was slowly moving in, supported by Pei Zhao. Behind her was a group of maids carrying Lu Han Shuang's belongings. What else was there to ask? The answer was obvious. Luckily, I hadn't impulsively humiliated myself by begging Pei Zhao to let me stay here for one more day. Lu Han Shuang saw that I was still here and shrank back timidly. Sister, haven't you packed up yet? I didn't mean to rush over and make you leave. It's just that it's snowing now, and I'm afraid of catching a cold and causing trouble for you and Brother Pei, so I plan to move in as soon as possible. Don't be angry with me. I'll leave right away. By the end, tears were streaming down her face like a faucet had been turned on. Pei Zhao, who was standing beside her, lovingly pulled her into his arms. Leave, don't be silly, Han Shuang. I said this courtyard is yours. And even my future wife can't take it from you, don't you remember? I once said that whatever I have is yours. How could a farmer girl be worthy of taking anything from you? Instantly, Dong Xia's face turned deathly pale. She looked at me with heartache. I smiled at her. Her face became even paler. I imagined that my own face must look terrible too, or I wouldn't have scared the little girl so much, but my heart didn't seem to hurt as much anymore. See, giving up didn't seem so difficult after all. I was sent away by Pei Zhao's people. Dong Xia felt sorry for me and, despite my protests, still pleaded for me. When Dong Xia mentioned that I also suffered from cold syndrome, a flicker of guilt flashed in Pei Zhao's eyes, but Lu Han Shuang coughed just in time. And he forgot everything. Perhaps to make up for his guilt, he did send a few people to help Dong Xia and me clean up the courtyard together. Many hands make light work. Soon, the Qingfeng courtyard was cleaned up, but there was a reason why it was called Qingfeng Courtyard, Clear Wind Courtyard. The wind was blowing everywhere. It was really cold, even though I was hiding in the thick quilt that Dong Xia had laid out for me. My bones were still freezing. It was even colder than the thatched cottage I shared with Pei Zhao in the countryside. In the middle of the night, I started to run a fever, then came earth-shattering coughing. It wasn't until I coughed up a handful of blood that I truly felt that I was really going to leave. The system said that, considering the stability of time and space, I couldn't just disappear. so I would die of illness little by little. I looked at the blood all over my hands and wasn't afraid at all. Instead, I felt a sense of relief, like I was about to be freed. I just felt sorry for that little girl, Dong Xia. I must have scared her, and I was even burdening her by asking her to find Pei Zhao and beg him to find a doctor for me. Unfortunately, Qingfeng courtyard was too far away. She couldn't even get close to Pei Zhao's courtyard before being turned away. Dong Xia returned to the courtyard in tears, giving me a smile that was uglier than crying. Miss, the young marquis said it's too late now. But he'll find a doctor for you first thing in the morning. Little liar. I had already seen the bullet comments. They said that Pei Zhao didn't care at all whether I was sick or not. Lu Hanshuang was having another nightmare. He was by Lu Hanshuang's side, copying Buddhist scriptures for her. I suddenly remembered that I had once done the same for Pei Zhao. Back then, the abbot of Lianyun Mountain Temple had said that Pei Zhao's illness was probably incurable. Even he had lost his will to live, and his eyes were filled with death. My heart trembled when I saw that. For the first time, I, who had never believed in gods or Buddhas, knelt before the Buddha, day and night. I copied Buddhist scriptures for him, praying to all the gods in the sky to have mercy on him. I copied for him for more than half a year, through winter and summer. Later, perhaps my sincerity moved the heavens. His condition suddenly took a turn for the better. He really recovered under the skillful hands of the abbot of Yunshan Temple. Only then did I stop writing. That day, while packing, he saw the room full of Buddhist scriptures I had copied and piously held my hand, placing it over his heart. Ching, I remember all the good you've done for me here. I'll repay you for everything I owe you in the future. His words were still ringing in my ears, but he had changed. He personally made another exquisite jade hairpin, but in the end, he adorned someone else's hair with it. The Buddhist scriptures he copied were also for praying for his female lead. The comments were right. No matter how much I do, I'm just a female supporting character. In the end, Pei Zhao's attention will still be drawn to his female lead. In that case, leaving is indeed the right choice. There are still 5 days left until I leave. The next day, I felt even weaker, seeing me half dead. Dong Xia was anxious to death and insisted on finding Pei Zhao to get a doctor for me. I couldn't dissuade her and had to let her go. It's good to try. Once she gives up, she won't go again. Sure enough, after a while, the comments started flooding again. Look, the male lead and female lead are so good together. Look at this favoritism that ignores everyone else's life and death. When compared to the female lead, the female supporting character can't get any good at all. The male lead doesn't even believe she's sick. Exactly, the little girl's head is about to be broken from kowtowing, but the male lead still thinks the female supporting character is lying to gain favor and isn't even willing to find her a doctor. What can you do? As long as the female lead is there, the male lead can't see anyone else. But don't you think the male lead is too disgusting? The female supporting character is so good to him, and this is how he repays her. But the male lead doesn't love her. Love and kindness are different. Not loving is not loving. I looked at the last comment, took out the wooden hairpin that Pei Zhao had personally made for me from the box and smashed it to pieces on the ground. Right, not loving is not loving. Pei Zhao doesn't love me, and I don't want to love him anymore. Never again. Dong Xia returned with a swollen forehead, crying, Miss, I'm sorry. I couldn't get the young marquis to find you a doctor. I lied to you yesterday. I chuckled. Silly girl, I knew yesterday. What are you crying for? Look, I'm fine now. I don't need a doctor at all. Dong Xia cried even louder. She stepped forward and hugged me tightly. But my lady, I'm just sad for you. You vomited so much blood. I was really scared. So scared. I knelt in front of the young marquis and kowtowed until my head was broken. But the young marquis told me not to act. He said he knew you were just pretending to be sick. He didn't expect that you, a peasant girl, had learned so many jealous tricks after coming to the capital for only a few days. How disgusting. But my lady isn't disgusting at all. He's just blind and heartless. My lady, you are clearly the person the young marquis is about to marry, the future mistress of the marquis's mansion. Why does the young marquis treat you like this? Why? I felt the wetness on my shoulder, and gave a wry smile. Silly girl, why else? Probably because we will never get married. Pei Zhao, he never intended to marry me, did he? It was difficult to coax the little girl, and it took me a long time to stop her from crying. Then she went to work in silence. I knew that she, like me, had now seen clearly. Pei Zhao doesn't love me, so he doesn't believe me, and he doesn't value me. She won't count on him anymore. She asked an acquaintance to get me 2 doses of medicine, but I still withered day by day. The disease the system gave me cannot be cured by any medicine, but to reassure the little girl, I still drank the bitter medicine bowl after bowl. I thought, if one of the 2 people is happy, that's fine. For 3 days in a row, Pei Zhao and Lu Hanyan didn't bother me, except that Pei Zhao would occasionally send people over to let me pick out the jewelry for the wedding. Just look at the color of the wedding dress. The rest of the time, I'm very idle. They seem to tacitly forget my existence, and I'm happy to be idle. My body is getting weaker and weaker. My favorite thing to do every day is to sit under the veranda and stare at the plum blossoms in the corner of the wall. Now the plum blossoms have buds. I think, if I'm lucky, I can see the flowers bloom before I leave. Winter and summer can't stand me being so lifeless. They don't know where they picked up a stray kitten and brought it back to raise. She used to like me taking her to feed chickens and grow vegetables. When I was in my Lanxiang courtyard, my favorite thing to do was to grow vegetables in the garden. Pei Zhao indulged me at that time. He specially asked the housekeeper to split a piece of land for me to grow vegetables and raise chickens. However, I heard that all the vegetables there have been pulled out by Lu Hanyan and replaced with her favorite orchids. The chickens were also sent to the outer Zhuangzi. After I heard about it, I was in a daze for a while. A little regret, those Chinese cabbages that are about to mature. After a few days, they will be cooked soft in the pot, which is delicious. I won't be able to eat them this year. I looked at the palm-sized kitten in my hand, and frowned with worry. Winter and summer. I can't raise cats. Winter and summer scoffed. Miss, you raise chickens so well, you can definitely raise cats. The chickens you raise lay the most eggs in the yard. Because of Winter and summer's unwarranted trust, I had to take on the important task of raising kittens. The kitten is very well behaved, probably trusting me. It burrowed straight into my arms. I feed it milk and it drinks milk. I feed it fish and it eats fish. Go to bed at night, it lay under my feet to keep my feet warm. When I was warm, I could still hear a purring sound. Listening to its milky purring sound, I suddenly realized that this drafty Qingfeng courtyard didn't seem so cold. I picked up the needle and thread again, ready to make a few clothes for the kitten. Winter is cold. Wearing clothes will definitely be warmer. When I make clothes, I let Winter and Summer play with the kitten. The kitten and Winter and Summer are also very close. I think when I leave, with the kitten accompanying Winter and Summer, she won't be so sad. This little girl is the only person in this world who shows me sincerity and kindness. I hope she can live well. Countdown to the second day before leaving, Pei Zhao and Lu Hanyan came to my yard after a long absence. At that time, I was teasing the kitten in the red cotton padded jacket with Winter and Summer in the yard. The little guy looks so cute in his cotton padded jacket. Even Lu Hanyan's eyes lit up when she saw the little guy. Pei Zhao looked at me on the ground. His eyes darkened. His voice was full of long-lost intimacy and concern. Didn't you say your body is not good? The ground is so cold. How dare you there? Why don't you get up? Saying that, he naturally stretched out his hand, as if to help me up. Lu Hanyan's eyes paused, and then she helped me up from the ground before Pei Zhao. That's right, sister. Brother Pei knows that your body is not good. And he has been so anxious that he hasn't slept well these past few nights. If my body wasn't useless, and Brother Pei had to stay with me all the time, he would have come to see you long ago. Fortunately, the imperial physician who has been treating me has good medical skills, so let my sister atone for her sins and let him take a look at you. I just wanted to say no. Winter and Summer hurriedly agreed. That's great. Miss has been eating less and less these days, and she coughs all day long. I saw her vomiting blood the other day. It's too necessary for a good doctor to take a look. Looking at Winter and Summer's worried expression, I didn't say the words of rejection after all. Pei Zhao seemed to be looking at me so seriously for the first time in a long time. He looked at my face and trembled his lips and said, Qingqing, why are you so thin? Go and invite you Daifu. You are so thin that I am afraid. Your body used to be able to carry me to Yunshan Temple. Yes, my health used to be so good. Now, sometimes my body aches, and I can't even hold a kitten. I looked at Pei Zhao's whitening face strangely, not understanding why he was putting on this worried act now. Could this be part of their elopement drama in 3 days? Lu Hanyan's family doctor arrived quickly, while this Dr. Yu was taking my pulse. The kitten nestled in my arms, licking my fingers as if to tell me not to be afraid. That it would be with me. Dr. Yu finished taking my pulse quickly. He didn't speak after taking my pulse, just looked at me meaningfully. Pei Zhao asked anxiously, "What's the situation? Is it serious?" The maid said she vomited blood. Dr. Yu looked at me and said with a sneer, "Vomiting blood? That's absurd. The young lady is probably pursuing slimness like the women of Kyoto, deliberately eating less. Her pulse is weak and turbid, it's starvation. The young lady is fine. She'll be fine as long as she resumes eating." As soon as he finished speaking, the look in Pei Zhao's eyes changed from concern to contempt. "Lin Qing is acting very fun. Ha, I told you, Han Yan is my childhood companion, don't be jealous all the time. She even specially found a doctor for you. I'm really starting to wonder if deciding to marry you was reckless. Can someone with your character really be the future mistress of our marquis's mansion?" These words were very harsh. Dongxia was about to cry. "No, Miss really vomited blood. She didn't eat less either. She really can't eat." A glint flashed in Pei Zhao's eyes. "Someone, drag this sharp-tongued maid who's full of lies down and slap her 20 times. As he said that, several guards rushed over, grabbing Dongxia to drag her away. My heart felt like it was being cut. "Stop it, Pei Zhao. If you have any anger, direct it at me. Why are you treating Dongxia like this?" Pei Zhao snorted coldly. "Because she's instigating trouble and talking nonsense." As soon as he finished speaking, the guard's hand struck Dongxia's face, instantly causing it to swell. My heart ached as if it was going crazy. How could Pei Zhao treat me like this? "Stop it, damn Pei Zhao, stop it. Why are you hitting my maid? Don't forget how I treated you back then, and how you're treating me now. You're crossing the river and destroying the bridge. Heartless, ungrateful, and shameless." This was the first time I spoke of what happened back then in front of Pei Zhao. Pei Zhao's face turned pale instantly, his eyes were like ice, but his body seemed to be hurt so badly that he was about to collapse. "You're saying this to me for a maid?" I stared intently at Pei Zhao. "Yes, I'm saying this to you, Pei Zhao. In my heart, you're just an ungrateful wretch. It shouldn't have been like this." I originally wanted to say goodbye quietly, not wanting to fall out with him, but he and Lu Hanyan just wouldn't let me go. Pei Zhao's eyes turned red, and his iron arms clamped down on me tightly. "Lin Qing, take back your words. You can't say that about me. How can you say that about me? Everyone in the world can scold me, but not you." Yes, Pei Zhao's return was not honorable. At that time, the entire capital was scolding him for being unrighteous and unfilial. Only I stood firmly behind him, telling him he was not wrong, but now, I was the one saying those words. Pei Zhao couldn't take it, but I still wouldn't change my words. He was indeed an ungrateful, heartless wretch. Pei Zhao glared at me, then laughed as if he was extremely angry. "Good, very good, Lin Qing, you're really good. I see you really don't want to get married in 3 days. I said faintly. "Yes, I don't want to either. Just like you, Pei Zhao, let's cancel the engagement." "As you wish, I'm letting you go." But Pei Zhao's face didn't show the happiness I expected. He released my hand, taking a step back involuntarily. "Lin Qing, you really have some tricks up your sleeve. When trying to repay kindness doesn't work, you resort to threatening me. Fine, you're really something." Seeing that things were not going well, Lu Hanyan quickly grabbed Pei Zhao's hand. "Brother Pei, don't be angry. It's just for a maid. Why do you and sister have to be like this? How about this, since this maid is causing trouble, and sister can't bear to punish her, just let me take her back. I'll arrange for her to do some sweeping in the front, so she won't suffer, but she won't be an eyesore in front of us anymore. What do you think?" Pei Zhao nodded. "Let's do that." I walked over and helped Dongxia, who was kneeling on the ground, dazed with fear. I said, "No, no one can take Dongxia away from me." Pei Zhao was exasperated. "Lin Qing, don't push your luck." I stubbornly retorted, "Dongxia is my person, her indenture is with me. What right do you have to interfere with her leaving or staying?" Pei Zhao gritted his teeth. "Fine, very well, Lin Qing, don't you ever ask me for anything." With that, he turned and left. Lu Hanyan looked at Pei Zhao's back, giving me a venomous look. She grabbed Pei Zhao's hand again. "Brother Pei, wait, the cat in sister's courtyard is so cute. It looks like the little tabby you gave me when I was little. Can you give it to me to raise? Pei Zhao stopped, looking at me thoughtfully. I hugged the cat, quickly taking a step back. The cat is mine, you're not allowed to think about it. Pei Zhao smiled coldly. Lin Qing, I'll show you now that everything here is mine. Someone, take this animal away, give it to Miss Lu. As he said this, several old women came over, seized me, and took the cat from my arms. The kitten cried miserably. My heart trembled. I pleaded to Pei Zhao, don't, Pei Zhao. Please, leave the kitten with me, I'm dying, just let the kitten keep me company. Okay. Pei Zhao hesitated, looking at me. Lu Hanyan held the kitten, smiling sarcastically. Sister, what nonsense are you talking about? Doctor, you said your health is very good, without any illness or disaster. Don't talk nonsense again, you'll be creating bad karma. Hearing this, Pei Zhao came to his senses. He said coldly to me, then you should just die. Is it interesting to lie all day long? If you really die, I'll let this animal be buried with you. Someone, guard Qingfeng courtyard. Miss Lin is not feeling well. She's not allowed to move around freely. The wedding is the day after tomorrow. We can't be without a bride. The kitten was snatched away by Lu Hanyan. Qingfeng courtyard calmed down again. Even Dongxia didn't like to talk anymore. Miss, they're surrounding the courtyard. I can't get out. The medicine I bought last time is finished. I can't buy any more. I smiled weakly. That's great. I don't have to take bitter medicine anymore. You heard it too. That doctor you said I have a disease caused by starvation. Just eat more. Dongxia burst into tears. No, it's not like that. Miss is really sick. That Dr. Yu is a liar. He's Lu Hanyan's person. How could she sincerely treat you? It's all Dr. Yu's lies. Yes, he was lying, even Dongxia knew. But Pei Zhao couldn't think of it. It's just that in his heart. Lu Hanyan was more trustworthy than me, that night. Maybe because there was no kitten to warm my feet. I couldn't get warm no matter how I slept. I missed it so much that my heart was breaking. But Lu Hanyan said she liked cats. Then she should treat it well. As long as she treats the kitten well, that's fine. It's better than following me, who is about to die. Last day of the countdown. I was carrying Dongxia on my back when I vomited a bed full of blood. I think I'm really running out of steam, hoping that because I'm so miserable, the system will give me more rewards when I go back. In the evening, Pei Zhao sent someone to deliver the wedding garments. Looking at the red wedding dress, I only felt it was dazzling. Dongxia called me several times to get up and try it on, but I was unwilling. Anyway, there won't be a real wedding tomorrow, so why bother? I lay quietly on the bed, waiting for death to come. Suddenly, I heard a familiar meow. My eyes suddenly opened. My kitten had actually come back to find me. It must be reluctant to leave me, so it came back to say goodbye. My strength seemed to suddenly return to my body. I jumped out of bed, wanting to hug my kitten, but I saw that my kitten was covered in blood, and one of its bright, big eyes that always liked to stare at me was gone. It was dragging a broken leg, crawling towards me step by step. I ran to it like crazy, wanting to pick it up, but its injuries were too severe. Its entire body was without a piece of good skin, all 4 limbs were broken. I was afraid of hurting it, and didn't know how to start. The kitten smelled me, stretched out its pink little tongue, and licked my hand, just like every time before, as if to tell me, Master, I'm back. The warm little tongue quickly lost its heat, and the kitten convulsed and died in the cold snow. I'm so stupid. I still couldn't find a way to hold it in my arms without hurting it. I stared blankly at the kitten's corpse, not understanding how it could have died like this. It was fine yesterday when Lu Hanyan took it away from here. She clearly said she liked the kitten and would take it back to take good care of it. How could my kitten be like this today? Suddenly, the comments in front of me started scrolling rapidly. Amazing, the female supporting character actually used a trick to gain sympathy and made the male lead decide not to run away from the wedding and really marry her. The female lead is so pitiful, she's crying so hard, but the male lead is still unmoved. He said that the female supporting character was right, that he owed her so much and it would be too shameless to run away from the wedding without repaying her. I have to say, the male lead's values have been scolded back by the female supporting character, but don't you think the female lead is scary? Just because the male lead went back on his word and wanted to marry the female supporting character, she abused and killed the female supporting character's cat. Yeah, the kitten's screams were so pitiful, I didn't even dare to watch. So, Lu Hanyan killed the kitten, hee. Are you crying? Sister Ching Ching. Lu Hanyan didn't know when she had walked in, this little beast was really disobedient, so I couldn't help but teach it a lesson. I accidentally used too much force and killed it. Don't be angry, sister. Lu Hanyan looked at my face and suddenly laughed strangely. What can you do even if you're angry? You're just a substitute. What can you do? Seeing my puzzled look, she laughed even more triumphantly. You really don't know. Has no one told you that you look a bit like me? Why do you think Brother Pei Zhao would marry you? There are countless ways to repay a debt. Why would he choose to give himself in marriage? Isn't it because you look like me? If I hadn't been betrothed to the second prince at the time, he wouldn't have given you a betrothal gift. What right does a peasant girl have to marry my brother Pei Zhao? I advise you to be sensible and leave on your own, otherwise I'll make you die even worse than your cat. A substitute. So this is another terrible substitute plot. No wonder Pei Zhao used to like to draw portraits of me. The person in the picture looks like me and doesn't look like me, so, he was drawing Lu Hanyan through me. But, so be it if I'm a substitute. Why did she have to hurt my kitten? I looked at Lu Hanyan's beautiful face, puzzled. I found that her face, which was usually gentle and weak, was now full of. Her hands seemed to be stained with the kitten's blood, which made my heart sting. I didn't hate her before, even if she stole all of Pei Zhao's attention. However, this was a character attribute she possessed as the female lead of this small world. Unawakened characters will act according to their set roles, but now, I think she's just evil, genuinely evil. I can never forgive someone who tortures small animals. I touched the little cat's still warm body and asked, "Did you kill the cat?" Lu Hanyan was extremely smug. "Yes, I did it." I beckoned her over. "Give me the hairpin on your head, and I'll leave on my own." "I know. Pei Zhao made it for you himself." Lu Hanyan, as if she were giving alms to a beggar, took off the hairpin and threw it to me. "Here, take it. Paigage has given me so much. One less thing won't make a difference." I picked up the hairpin and stood up. I stopped in front of Lu Hanyan, emanating a chilling aura. Lu Hanyan was stunned. "What else do you want to do?" I smiled. "Actually, I have a gift for you too." I grabbed Lu Hanyan's hand and shoved the hairpin right into her eyeball. Just like the little cat, I turned her into a one-eyed dragon. In this world, I'm a farm girl, incredibly strong. Lu Hanyan couldn't resist at all. She howled and screamed wildly, but I acted even faster. I pulled out the hairpin and slashed her face, the one she was most proud of. I made sure she could never go out and seduce people again. Then I stabbed her neck, so her mouth could never utter those sugary, scheming words again. It's a pity. Just as I wanted to continue finishing her off, Pei Zhao arrived. He saw the hairpin in my hand. He kicked me. "Stop." I flew out like a kite with a broken string. It seemed like the system said that I might be starting to detach. Why else would my mouth be spewing blood like a fountain? My miserable state terrified Pei Zhao. He even forgot to look at Lu Hanyan, who was blind, disfigured, and had a slit throat. He grabbed my hand, trembling. "No, Ching Ching. No. I didn't use much force. How could you be spitting so much blood? Didn't doctor you say you were fine? Why are you spitting so much blood?" "Why, Ching Ching, talk." Unfortunately, I had nothing left to say to him. Dongxia, who had just returned from delivering something, was crying her heart out beside me. I'm not really worried about her anymore. I left her enough money to live on her own. She'll be fine. Now, I'm just worried about my little cat. I propped myself up and crawled towards the little cat. It wanted me to hold it when it died. When it was alive, I was afraid of hurting it. Now, I can finally not be afraid of that and hold it properly. "Doctor, doctor, quickly get a doctor." "Ching Ching, you're spitting blood." "Okay, I'm so scared, so scared." Pei Zhao knelt in front of me, holding my hand tightly, as if I were some rare treasure. Even Lu Hanyan was screaming in agony on the side. He didn't even turn his head. But I waved Pei Zhao's hand away, as if I were touching something dirty. "Pei Zhao, didn't you want to escape the marriage? I'm granting your wish. You don't have to escape the marriage. I'm going to die with my little cat. Now you can be together openly." "No, I was wrong. I don't want to escape the marriage anymore. Ching Ching, I don't want to escape the marriage. I just figured it out. I've always loved you the most. I want to be with you forever." I smiled mockingly. Disgusting. Pei Zhao, you're so disgusting. Remember, I will never forgive you. You let me down. You killed my little cat. You killed me. The barrage was full of wailing. Disgusting, really disgusting. This is the most disgusting female lead and male second lead I've ever seen. Can't you just go die? Why did you have to kill my cute kitten and the female supporting character? Aya, I'll never be okay again. I heard the familiar meow of a cat again. I knew it was my kitten coming to pick me up. The familiar electronic voice sounded, initiating program exit. 3, 2, 1. I returned to the real world, and along with me, there was an extra 80 million in my bank account. I asked the system in surprise. I thought there were no rewards. The system was even more surprised than I was. How could there be no rewards? You completed the task. I was stunned. What? Completed? The system said that after I died. Pei Zhao completely went mad. He belatedly realized that he had already fallen in love with me. He felt that he and Lu Hanyan had killed me. If Lu Hanyan hadn't killed my kitten, and if she hadn't come to him after being heartbroken by the male lead, I wouldn't have died at all. So Lu Hanyan, who had been painstakingly saved by Dr. Yu, was brutally murdered by him. He used the same method she had used to kill the kitten, cutting off her limbs and cutting off every good piece of flesh on her body. Then he hung her in the market, where she wailed for 3 days before dying. He didn't let go of the lying Dr. Yu either. Along with his mistress, Lu Hanyan, Pei Zhao also gave him a brutal murder gift package. It was extremely miserable, but this operation told the emperor that their Pei family had nothing to do with this rebellious minister's daughter. On the contrary, it prevented him from being beheaded and his family destroyed later because of the female lead. I listened to the system and sighed. So that's how you can complete a task. It's just a little confusing. Are people these days all sick? Do they only awaken and remember after someone dies? I find it a bit ridiculous. But as long as the task is completed, that's fine. I'm now a multimillionaire. The system added. By the way, it was really not easy for you to complete this task. So I applied for an extra reward for you. What reward? As soon as I finished speaking, I heard a familiar meow. The kitten, completely recovered, appeared in front of me. Aya, it's my kitten. I hugged it tightly. This time, I will never leave my kitten alone again. The system is so good. I decided to give it a 5-star rating. Later, the system asked me if I wanted to see how Pei Zhao was doing. I shook my head. I have money and a cat. Who cares about that scumbag? Male leads notes. I always thought Qingqing would never leave me. When we first met, I was so embarrassed. But she was like a god, not only saving me but also taking care of me in every possible way. I never knew that a girl could have so much energy. I knew I had been abandoned by everyone. Even my mother thought I was a useless person and brought back my father's illegitimate son. I even thought about dying. But when I thought of Qingqing, I didn't want to die. She took me all over the world to seek medical treatment. Those places were so far away. But I wasn't afraid as long as she was with me. She took me, kneeling and kowtowing every step of the way. We knelt up 1,000 steps to Yunshan Temple. We begged the abbot of Yunshan Temple to help me. When we reached the top of the mountain, I vowed, I want to marry this girl. I want to be good to her for the rest of my life. Later, I got better. I returned to the Marquis's mansion and took back everything I wanted. The people who used to discard me like trash came back to me, including Lu Hanyan, the girl I once admired. She was still so beautiful. I found that I really couldn't blame her, even if she didn't lend a helping hand back then. What could a woman do? But I forgot that Qingqing is also a woman. I decided to treat her like a younger sister in the future. But I don't know why, when I'm with Lu Hanyan, I always feel that Qingqing is getting worse and worse. Lu Hanyan always said, intentionally or unintentionally, that Qingqing was scheming, knowing how to find a good match. If she hadn't met me and been so desperately good to me, how could a poor, lonely farm girl like her come to the capital? Under her insinuations, I grew increasingly disgusted with Qingqing. As if she were truly dark and scheming, I disliked her more and more. So, when Lu Hanyan suggested that I run away from the wedding to humiliate Qingqing, I agreed. I wanted to know if she was sincere towards me, but I later realized that sincerity cannot be tested. I personally lost the girl I loved most. I killed the person in this world who loved me the most. Why did I take away her kitten, even when she cried? Why didn't I stop? I clearly swore to treat her well for the rest of my life. I killed Lu Hanyan to avenge her, but I know she won't forgive me. My Qingqing loved with unparalleled fervor and hated with all her might. The day after Lu Hanyan died, I came to the cliff where Qingqing and I first met. I drank a deadly poison, opened my arms, closed my eyes, and jumped off. Below was a point of no return, but I knew that this time, no one would come to save me. Qingqing, I'm sorry. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.